In the heart of Willow Park, where laughter usually danced on the breeze, a thick tension nestled like a storm cloud on an otherwise clear day. Beatrice, a middle-aged woman of striking presence, with piercing blue eyes that could slice through pretense, strode confidently along the winding path, her thoughts clouded with the latest town chatter. Her keen sense of observation and relentless curiosity often led her to the heart of neighborhood mysteries. As she ambled along, her gaze fell upon a figure that set her on high alert. A dark-skinned man, whom she recognized as Marcus, was dashing past her with a small girl held tightly in his arms. The girl, a porcelain white child named Sophie, was 9 years old, her cherubic face marred by tear-streaked cheeks and swollen red eyes. She clung to him desperately, a fragile lifeline in a world that felt suddenly overwhelming. A sudden chill crept up Beatrice's spine, echoing the recent reports of missing children that had dominated the headlines and stoked the fires of fear among the townsfolk. Her instincts screamed at her to act, and without a second thought, she retrieved her phone and dialed the authorities with trembling fingers. "Hey, you! Stop right there!" she bellowed, her voice slicing through the tense air as she stepped into his path, the picture of indignation. "What do you think you're doing with that child? I've already called the police." Sophie winced, her quiet sobs morphing into panicked cries as she nestled deeper into Marcus's embrace. The man met Beatrice's furious gaze, his brow furrowed, but his voice remained calm even as urgency clung to his words. "I'm not a kidnapper," Marcus insisted, his demeanor steady, yet with an unmistakable urgency as he attempted to sidestep her. But Beatrice was unyielding, her resolve hardening. "You think you can just walk away? The police are on their way, and we'll see about this," she shouted, her determination etched across her features. With Sophie still at his side, Marcus's jaw clenched, but he refrained from further argument. The pounding of his heart matched the escalating cries of the frightened child in his arms, a symphony of fear that enveloped them. Within moments, the ominous wail of sirens filled the air, and the flashing red and blue lights broke through the trees like a cruel sun slicing through shadows. A swarm of law enforcement officers descended upon the scene, their uniforms stark against the vibrant park backdrop. "Put your hands up and step away from the girl," one officer barked, his gun drawn. With care, Marcus knelt down, lowering Sophie to the ground gently before raising his hands in surrender. "I'm not a kidnapper. I'm here to help her," he pleaded, his desperation palpable. One officer shifted to Sophie's level, concern flickering in his eyes. "Is this man your father?" he asked hopefully. Sophie, still sobbing, shook her head vehemently. At this, the officers wasted no time. They seized Marcus, twisting his arms behind him, a stark representation of their bias against him. His heart raced as he protested, a primal fear bubbling to the surface. "Don't!" he shouted, struggling against their hold, panic rising as he realized the stakes. The situation spiraled out of control. In a sudden burst of adrenaline, he twisted free and bolted, clutching Sophie closely against him. Her small arms wound around his neck as he took off, her cries mingling with the chaos behind them. "Stop him!" Beatrice shrieked, her voice echoing as the officers pursued, their shouts piercing like thunder. The police sprang into action, launching a full investigation fueled by the societal prejudices that clouded their judgment. News reports had highlighted the unsettling trend of abductions involving predominantly black children. Sophie stood out as a rare anomaly, intensifying the urgent suspicion surrounding Marcus. Adding to the wildfire of panic was the knowledge that Sophie's father, Dr. Edward Carr, a celebrated genius in the realm of scientific innovation, expected swift and immediate action. When he arrived at the station, commanding attention as if he were orchestrating a symphony, the officers shifted into overdrive, driven by the desire to curry favor with such a prominent figure. "Find him! We cannot let this continue!" Dr. Carr's voice rang with authority, sending electric shocks of motivation through the ranks. As the investigation deepened, officers uncovered Marcus's true identity as a compassionate doctor working at Sophie's school. Yet, prejudiced minds couldn't fathom a black man in such a position. leading to the vile whispers that shamed his reputation. A black man as a doctor? He's just playing a part. This is all a ruse, they muttered. As the police launched a nationwide manhunt, they painted Marcus as a desperate kidnapper, a narrative that spun dangerously out of control while a cloud of racism and fear blurred the lines of reality. Hours turned into a fevered chase, leading the authorities to a rundown warehouse on the outskirts of town where they encircled the area with overwhelming force. The white police chief, filled with a toxic mix of confidence and aggression, prepared to break down the door, eager to apprehend Marcus and Sophie. But what lay behind that door shocked them to their core. Inside, they found a sight that would haunt their dreams. A group of malnourished black children, their skin a canvas of despair, eyes hollow like stormy skies, filled with fear. They huddled together, the haunting echoes of their suffering reverberating off the cold walls. As the officers regained their composure, they spotted Marcus kneeling beside a frail child, a syringe in hand, filled not with malice but with medicine intended to save. "Stop! Hands in the air! You're under arrest!" the chief commanded, his weapon trained on Marcus, the air thick with tension. But Marcus didn't flinch, caught in a moment of heartfelt determination. Just as the officers prepared to fire, Sophie, fueled by desperate love, rushed forward, her voice ringing out like a bell. "Please don't shoot. Let him help my friend." Her words struck the officers like arrows, forcing them to reconsider their perspectives. This innocent girl, raised in the opulence of her father's wealth, yet shackled by loneliness, had only sought justice for another, Lena, a kindred spirit who had suffered under her father's neglect. Dr. Carr's factory had exploited child labor, exposing vulnerable children to toxic conditions, and now Sophie stood between her protector and their impending brutality. As Marcus continued, his voice steady despite the chaos encircling them, he spoke the truth that had been suffocating in the shadows. "These children are victims of your scientist," he implored. "They've been abducted to toil in his factory, bound by the chains of greed and need. They deserve life, not to be sacrificed on the altar of priority principles." The police began to process this harrowing truth when suddenly a contingent of guards loyal to Dr. Carr stormed into the warehouse, their presence creating a standoff drowned in tension. "Do you have a search warrant?" the late guard sneered, attempting to assert dominance despite the gravity of the situation. "Release the children. You're breaking the law," the chief commanded, his voice steady. Just then, Dr. Carr emerged from the shadows, fury etched across his face. "Annie, why on earth did you follow that filthy man?" he spat, venom tinging his words. Sophie faltered, but replied, her voice soft but resolute. "I just wanted to help Lena." Dr. Carr scoffed, the truth of his dark heart rising to the surface. "Help? These children are nothing but expendable tools for my ambition." The chief's patience wore thin. "These are children, not commodities. You will face the consequences of your actions." In that moment, Dr. Carr's arrogance shattered, revealing the desperate man beneath. "You can't arrest me. My experimentation isn't finished. Why not just use these children for my brilliance?" His words dripped with disdain, hatred pulsing through them. Once revered, his image now lay twisted and corrupt in the face of the truth. The police, once awed by his genius, turned disillusioned, and the chief ordered his arrest without hesitation. With chaos swirling around them, Dr. Carr, in a frantic bid for escape, grabbed Sophie, brandishing a scalpel against her tender throat. "One more move, and I'll end her." His ultimatum echoed like a death knell. Yet, in a moment of bravery, Sophie drew upon her resolve. Trembling but fierce, she bit down hard on her father's hand, forcing him to release his grip. She darted towards Marcus, who stood ready, arms open in undying support. A gunshot rang out, the sound reverberating through the air as it struck Dr. Carr in the leg, and he collapsed, a shattered figure beneath the weight of his own hubris. As he was apprehended, he faced a myriad of charges: child abduction, exploitation, and endangerment. His once celebrated legacy crumbled, and the truth revealed rendered him powerless, sentencing him to a lifetime in the shadows of a prison cell. Meanwhile, the children found rescue at last, their pain easing as they were taken into the arms of compassion. Marcos, vindicated, emerged as a hero, his name associated with hope and justice. Sophie, filled with gratitude, approached Marcus, wrapping her arms around him in a heartfelt embrace. "Thank you. You restored my faith in justice," she exclaimed. With warmth radiating from within, Marcus hugged her back. "You are the true hero here." Though the case had closed, the embers of truth and justice would burn bright, reminding Willow Park of the darkness hidden in plain sight, the power of compassion, and the resilience of a child's unwavering spirit.